How to unlock 100% of your brain's potential, truth versus myth. Opening. What if I told you that the famous 10% of your brain myth is completely backwards? You're already using 100% of your brain, but you're using it inefficiently, like running a supercomputer to check email. Your brain consumes 20% of your body's energy while representing only 2% of your weight. Every region activates throughout the day. The myth isn't about unused capacity, it's about untapped optimization. Your brain is a Ferrari engine running on low-grade fuel with a clogged air filter. This isn't self-improvement nonsense. This is hard science. Neuroscientists at Johns Hopkins, Yale, and the Max Planck Institute have identified the exact factors that separate optimal brain function from mediocre performance. They've documented how neural efficiency, synaptic density, neurotransmitter balance, and network connectivity determine whether your brain operates at 30% efficiency or 95% efficiency. Ancient cognitive traditions, Vedic meditation, Taoist breathwork, Socratic dialogue, developed systematic practices that accidentally optimized these same neural parameters. They spoke of mental clarity, awakened mind, and higher consciousness. Modern neuroscience reveals they were describing measurable states of enhanced brain function. The question isn't whether you use your whole brain. You do. The question is whether you're using it like a rusty bicycle or a precision instrument. I'm about to reveal 10 optimization protocols that maximize neural efficiency across different brain systems. Each one eliminates a specific bottleneck limiting your cognitive performance. Master these, and you're not accessing unused brain regions. You're upgrading how effectively your entire brain operates. Your brain is already running at 100%. Time to make that 100% actually count. Part 1. The neural efficiency. Paradox: you think more brain activity means better performance. Neuroscientists call this the beginner's fallacy. More activation actually indicates inefficiency. Expert performers show less brain activation than novices during identical tasks. A concert pianist's brain during performance looks calmer than a beginner's. This isn't reduced effort, it's optimized processing, using fewer resources to achieve superior results. This is technique number 1 out of 10, the neural efficiency paradox. Select one skill you perform regularly. Practice it daily with singular focus for exactly 30 minutes. But here's the key. After each session, spend 5 minutes in complete stillness with eyes closed, mentally reviewing what you just did without physical movement. Do this for 60 consecutive days without missing a session. Repeated focused practice followed by mental consolidation triggers. Synaptic pruning. Your brain eliminates inefficient neural pathways while strengthening optimal ones. You're not building more connections. You're building better connections. Less noise, more signal. Brain imaging shows that expertise correlates with decreased, not increased brain activation. Efficiency looks like effortless calm, not frantic activity. Start combining focused practice with stillness review and watch your performance improve while mental effort paradoxically decreases. Part 2. The glucose optimization. Protocol: your brain runs on glucose. Everyone knows this. What they don't know is that how you deliver glucose matters infinitely more than how much you consume. Neuroscientist Stephen Conan's research proves that glucose spikes and crashes create cognitive volatility. Your brain performs best with stable, sustained glucose delivery, not the roller coaster most people subject it to. This is technique number 2 out of 10. The glucose optimization protocol. Restructure your eating to never consume carbohydrates alone. Every carb intake must be paired with protein, fat, or fiber in a 1:1 ratio by volume. Eat 4 smaller meals instead of 3 large ones, spaced exactly 4 hours apart. Maintain this eating pattern for 45 consecutive days while tracking subjective mental clarity on a 1 to 10 scale after each meal. Stable blood glucose prevents the prefrontal cortex energy crashes that devastate decision-making and impulse control. Your brain's executive functions are glucose-hungry. Inconsistent fuel supply cripples them. You're providing consistent premium fuel instead of erratic energy jolts. Studies on students show that stable glucose correlates with 23% better test performance compared to fasted or sugar-loaded states. Start stabilizing your glucose delivery and watch mental clarity become consistent rather than sporadic throughout your Day Part 3, the oxygenation amplification method. Your brain uses 20% of your oxygen supply. Most people breathe so shallowly they're essentially suffocating their neurons throughout the day. Pulmonologist James Nestor's research demonstrates that modern humans use roughly 10–20% of their lung capacity during normal breathing. Your brain is operating under chronic mild hypoxia, oxygen starvation that you've normalized as your baseline state. This is technique number 3 out of 10, the oxygenation amplification method, 4 times daily, upon waking, midday, late afternoon, and before bed. Practice this sequence. Inhale deeply through your nose for a count of 4. Hold for 4 counts. Exhale completely through your mouth for 6 counts. Hold empty lungs for 2 counts. Complete 10 full cycles each session. Set phone alarms to maintain consistency for 30 consecutive days. Deep breathing increases oxygen saturation, which directly enhances mitochondrial function in your neurons. More oxygen means more ATP production, literally more energy for cognitive processes. You're upgrading your brain's power. Supplied at freedivers and high-altitude athletes show enhanced cognitive performance under stress because their brains are trained to maximize oxygen utilization. Start practicing structured breathing 4 times daily and watch mental energy and clarity increase through enhanced cellular respiration. Part 4. The sleep architecture restoration. You know sleep matters. What you don't know is that sleep quality depends on precisely timed stages, and most people never reach the deepest, most restorative phases. Neuroscientist Matthew Walker's research reveals that deep, slow-wave sleep, where memory consolidation and neural cleanup occur, happens primarily in the first half of the night. Disrupting early sleep destroys cognitive function more than reducing total sleep hours. This is technique number 4 out of 10. The sleep architecture restoration. Establish an absolutely fixed sleep schedule. Same bedtime and wake time every day, including weekends with 0 variation. Make your bedroom completely dark. Blackout curtains. Cover all lights. Use tape over indicator LEDs. Keep room temperature between 65 to 68 degrees. No screens for 90 minutes before bed. Follow this protocol for 56 consecutive nights. Consistent timing synchronizes your circadian rhythm, allowing your brain to anticipate and prepare for sleep cycles. Temperature and darkness optimize melatonin production and prevent premature wake signals. You're creating conditions for complete sleep architecture. Not just hours in bed. Elite performers obsess over sleep consistency because a single night of disrupted deep sleep impairs performance for 3 subsequent days. Start treating sleep timing as non-negotiable and watch daytime. Cognitive capacity expand through optimized nocturnal restoration. Part 5. The neurotransmitter balance technique. Your brain operates on chemical messengers, dopamine, serotonin, GABA, acetylcholine. When these fall out of balance, your brain malfunctions regardless of structural integrity. Neuropharmacologist Andrew Huberman's research shows that neurotransmitter production depends heavily on precursor availability, which comes from diet and behavior patterns most people ignore. This is technique number 5 out of 10. The neurotransmitter balance technique. Integrate these daily. Morning sunlight exposure for 10 minutes within 30 minutes of waking, dopamine precursor activation. Consume omega-3 rich foods daily, fatty fish, walnuts, or flaxseed, serotonin production. Complete 30 minutes of moderate cardiovascular exercise 4 times weekly, GABA regulation. Maintain this triad for 12 consecutive weeks while journaling mood stability weekly. Morning light triggers dopamine synthesis pathways. Omega-3s provide building blocks for serotonin. Exercise regulates GABA, your primary inhibitory neurotransmitter. You're providing the raw materials and signals your brain needs to maintain optimal neurochemical balance. Depression and anxiety often reflect neurochemical deficiency, not character weakness. Your brain literally lacks the chemicals needed for stable mood. Start supporting neurotransmitter production systematically and watch emotional stability and mental clarity improve through biochemical optimization. Part 6. The cognitive reserve building. Your brain has a backup capacity called cognitive reserve, extra neural resources that protect against decline and enhance processing power. Most people never build it. Neuroscientist Yakov Stern's longitudinal research proves that cognitive reserve determines resilience to brain aging and injury. Two people with identical brain damage show vastly different symptoms based on their reserve levels. This is technique number 6 out of 10. The cognitive reserve building. Commit to learning 3 new, complex skills simultaneously over 6 months. 1 physical, martial art dance, 1 linguistic, new language, and 1 artistic instrument drawing. Practice each for 20 minutes daily in rotating order. The skills must be genuinely novel, not advancing existing expertise. Document your progression weekly in all 3 domains. Learning multiple novel skills forces widespread neural network development and strengthens interregional connectivity. You're building redundant processing pathways that enhance current function and protect against future decline. Complexity and variety matter. Simple or singular learning doesn't create sufficient reserve. Bilingual individuals show dementia symptoms 4 to 5 years later than monolinguals despite identical brain pathology. The reserve delays symptom expression. Start building multiple novel skills concurrently and watch your brain develop protective redundancy that enhances present performance. Part 7. The inflammation reduction strategy. Here's something that will blow your mind. Chronic inflammation doesn't just affect your body, it actively impairs brain function through a process called neuroinflammation. Neurologist Rudolf Tanzi's research demonstrates that inflammatory cytokines cross the blood-brain barrier, triggering microglial activation that disrupts synaptic function and impairs neurotransmission. Your brain literally operates worse when your body is inflamed. This is technique number 7 out of 10. The inflammation reduction strategy. Eliminate these inflammatory triggers for 90 consecutive days. Processed sugar, refined vegetable oils, and alcohol. Replace with anti-inflammatory foods daily. Leafy greens, berries, turmeric, and green tea. Add 1 15-minute cold exposure weekly, cold shower or ice bath. Track subjective mental clarity daily on a 1 to 10 scale. Removing inflammatory inputs allows your brain's immune cells to return to surveillance mode rather than attack mode. Anti-inflammatory. Foods provide compounds that actively resolve inflammation. Cold exposure triggers anti-inflammatory pathways. You're creating an internal environment where your brain can function without biochemical interference. Studies link inflammatory markers to depression, brain fog, and cognitive decline. The connection between gut health and mental health operates through inflammation. Start reducing systemic inflammation and watch mental fog lift as your brain escapes chronic low-grade immune activation. Part 8. The network connectivity. Enhancement. Your brain isn't just individual regions, it's networks of regions communicating. Network efficiency determines cognitive performance more than any single region's capacity. Neuroscientist Olaf Sporns's connectomy research reveals that hub regions, highly connected nodes that integrate information, determine overall brain function. Strengthening these hubs amplifies entire network performance. This is technique number 8 out of 10, the network connectivity enhancement. Practice activities that simultaneously engage multiple cognitive domains. Learn to juggle while reciting memorized poetry. Draw with your non-dominant hand while listening to lectures in a foreign language. Play strategic games while standing on a balance board. Choose one combination and practice 15 minutes daily for 10 consecutive weeks. Multi-domain engagement forces different brain networks to communicate simultaneously, strengthening the connections between them. You're building the information highways that allow different brain regions to collaborate efficiently. Isolated practice strengthens regions. Integrated practice strengthens networks. Musicians who improvise show enhanced connectivity between auditory, motor, and creative networks. The integration creates emergent capabilities. Start combining cognitive demands and watch your brain develop stronger inter-network communication that enhances all mental activities. Part 9. The stress hormone regulation. Chronic stress doesn't just feel bad, it physically damages your brain through elevated cortisol, which is toxic to hippocampal neurons. Neuroendocrinologist Robert Sapolsky's research proves that sustained high cortisol literally shrinks your hippocampus, impairing memory formation and emotional regulation. Stress makes you dumber, measurably and physically. This is technique number 9 out of 10. The stress hormone regulation. Implement daily stress regulation practices. 10 minutes of meditation or deep breathing upon waking. A 20-minute walk in nature during peak stress hours. 5 minutes of gratitude journaling before bed, listing 3 specific positive events from the day. Execute all 3 components every single day for 84 consecutive days without exception. These practices trigger parasympathetic activation, which lowers cortisol production. Morning meditation prevents stress accumulation. Midday nature exposure provides active cortisol reduction. Evening gratitude prevents rumination-driven nighttime cortisol spikes. You're creating a daily cortisol management system. Studies show that 8 weeks of mindfulness practice creates measurable increases in hippocampal volume. The damage from stress is reversible. Start regulating stress hormones systematically and watch cognitive function improve as your brain escapes chronic cortisol toxicity. Part 10. The social cognitive stimulation. Your brain evolved for social complexity. Isolation doesn't just feel bad, it causes measurable cognitive decline through reduced neural stimulation. Neuroscientist John Cacioppo's research on loneliness demonstrates that social isolation impairs executive function, memory, and learning as severely as sleep deprivation. Your brain needs social input to maintain optimal function. This is technique number 10 out of 10, the social cognitive stimulation. Schedule 3 types of social interaction weekly. 1 deep conversation, 60+ minutes, with someone you trust deeply. 1 intellectual discussion with someone who challenges your thinking. 1 teaching session where you explain something you know to someone learning it. Maintain this pattern for 16 consecutive weeks, documenting insights from each interaction. Different types of social engagement activate distinct neural networks: emotional bonding, perspective taking, and knowledge organization. Regular activation of these social cognitive systems maintains their functionality. You're using social interaction as cognitive exercise. Studies on aging show that socially active individuals maintain cognitive function decades longer than isolated individuals with identical physical health. Start diversifying your social cognitive engagement and watch mental sharpness improve through consistent activation of social brain networks. Datele closing. These 10 protocols aren't about accessing unused brain regions. They're about optimizing the 100% of your brain you're already using. You're eliminating inefficiencies, not unlocking hidden capacity. The neural efficiency. Paradox shows that expertise means less activation, not more. Glucose optimization protocol stabilizes your brain's fuel supply. Oxygenation amplification method increases cellular energy production. Sleep architecture restoration ensures complete neural maintenance. Neurotransmitter balance technique provides necessary chemical precursors. Cognitive reserve building creates protective redundancy. Inflammation reduction strategy removes biochemical interference. Network connectivity enhancement strengthens interregional communication. Stress hormone regulation eliminates cortisol toxicity. Social cognitive stimulation maintains social brain networks. Ancient traditions accidentally optimized these same parameters. Meditation reduced stress hormones. Fasting regulated glucose and inflammation. Community living provided social stimulation. Breathwork increased oxygenation. They discovered through millennia of trial and error what neuroscience now explains mechanistically. The 10% myth misleads people into seeking magical unlocking of dormant capacity. The truth is more powerful. Your brain is already fully engaged, but it's operating far below its potential efficiency. Small optimizations compound into dramatic performance improvements. Your transformation doesn't start tomorrow or next week. It starts the moment you implement your first breathing cycle. It starts when you stabilize your sleep schedule tonight. It starts when you pair your next carb intake with protein. The version of you with a fully optimized brain, mentally sharp, emotionally stable, cognitively flexible, creatively fluid, isn't hiding behind some locked door. That person emerges when you systematically remove the bottlenecks throttling your current performance. Your future self is waiting for you to stop seeking magic and start implementing optimization.